Over 100 schools and colleges that were supposed to be reopening for the start of the new term are closed due to this concrete problem. So what is it all about? Here is the condensed version. But if you're new to me, welcome. I'm Daniel Shensmith, a barrister of England and Wales, and I'd be very grateful if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to this channel at any point if you find this video useful, because I enjoy to help you to understand law. So what is it all about? So this is what it looks like. There's a couple of interesting articles on Sky News I'll link below. It's this stuff here. You probably recognize it around and about, and it's called RAC concrete for short. It is reinforced, aerated, autoclaved concrete. And in English, what that means, it's a block of concrete which has got air bubbles throughout it, making it a quarter of the weight of ordinary concrete, which means that it's easy to use, it's easy to lift. And during the post-war boom of building work in the 50s, 60s and 70s, it was used extensively for roofs because it was lightweight, it was preformed concrete, it made for very quick building, Lego-like construction, as it's described here by Sky News, and it was used in buildings across the country. The problem was, it had a shelf life, no pun intended, of about 30 years or so. And in the 90s, whilst it was still being used, it was discovered that it wasn't going to last very long. So, in other words, buildings that were put up in the 50s were likely to fail by the 80s, some 30 years odd later, which is why whenever we get something that takes time to figure out, there's always a sudden upheaval of problems all across the place because people didn't expect it until retrospectively you look back and then realize, and then there's this chaos as to look for how many buildings have been affected by all of this. So because they were used in roofs and ceilings, they're collapsing, obviously making it very dangerous. And so now it's many schools have been rebuilt over the years and reinforced over the years, but still at least well over 100 still contain this concrete and still are open to danger. Now the problem is that in 2018, when the roof of a primary school in Kent collapsed over a weekend so it didn't injure anybody, there was an investigation into the planks used, these concrete planks that were used, that had weakened the roof because these over time would sag, they would absorb moisture, they would change size and eventually collapse. And this investigation was done to discover that this material had significant problems. However, nothing really seemed to be done about it. Now, many people have criticised the current Prime Minister, the then Chancellor, that reduced the budget, but he's responded to that to say that it's absolutely wrong to blame him for this problem. Now, unless there's a direct link to a reduction in funding and the repair of these buildings, then he might be right. But that's not my position to investigate. Sky News also has a full list of the schools that are affected by this if you are still unsure as to whether one of yours is affected. And the reports for this are potentially going to take months to complete. And quite obviously, if these places have been closed because they are deemed to be dangerous, unless an assessment is done as to which rooms are affected and then other rooms could be open, as some people have suggested, then the whole place is going to remain closed. So unless some of it can open because it's deemed safe and the rest of it sort of wardened off and remain closed because it's unsafe, then those schools are going to remain completely closed, and that's why everything is in chaos. And that really is about it for the updates to this, because for some reason it's been left until the very last minute, until everyone is due to be going back to school, for all of this to come about. Now, as for when this is going to be resolved, it's anybody's guess. All we know is that reviews of this whole situation could take months, and obviously repairs are not going to happen overnight. And with so many schools needing repairs all at the same time, all up to a similar standard and so on, that may take time as well. But there's the condensed version of what it's all about. If you were wondering and didn't want to read it, there it is. So if you do like these snippet updates, please do hit that like button and subscribe. And let me know of anything you want me to talk about, and I'll do that as well. In the meantime, thank you for watching.